What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into episode number 349 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, and of course viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast network. It's KB and Deej coming at you. We got a loaded docket for you on this episode, and if you notice, I'm looking down at my notes here. Because DJ always word for word, bar for bar mimics me, and I can't look at him doing it because it makes me feel absolutely disgusting because it's like me hearing my own voice just be reiterated and is the most awkward thing in the world. So I hope everyone enjoyed that. I might have to just dub over my voice solo cam on you of doing the intro because
that would be
hilarious.
Crazy one day. Yeah, we got to do that one time.
We're gonna talk everything WLL, the Women's Lacrosse League announcement. I was on the press conference on Wednesday. Huge announcement, huge development for the growth of women's sports at the professional level, at the collegiate level, at the youth level. Huge development for women's lacrosse at all levels, and a huge development for professional lacrosse as a whole. Some trade dust has settled on Pat Cav, but our good friend Phil Shore wrote an article today that we're going to touch on just a little bit, just getting more details about that trade. Our good friend Adam Levy on the Lacrosse Matrix podcast got one hell of a quote from a current NLL owner about the state of the CBA going into the next negotiations. NLL UnBOXed launched 13 new markets today. And of course, we will have part 2 of our NLL season preview for 2024-2025. A whole lot to talk about on this episode. But make sure you guys are following us on the socials. We are on every platform. We're working on getting on the Blue Sky as well, just trying to figure out the servers and everything because it's been crashing a whole hell of a lot. But Underground Sports Philadelphia is on there. But if I've seen a whole bunch of lacrosse Twitter people heading over to Blue Sky, I'm going to put this out there. We're a media company. I understand there's a lot of like terms and service updates happening on the old Bird app. It does us no benefit to eliminate an already built up audience. So while we may migrate to other platforms like we have with Threads, like we have with LinkedIn, we're going to still remain on every platform because it does us no good to eliminate an audience and a platform that we've built up so much. But we're on every platform at OTB Lax Pod. You can follow Deej on the tweet machine at SCS_NextGreat. You can follow me at KBIZZL311. Follow Chase at the PLL Pipeline. Follow Hoots at Hoot Sports Media. Subscribe to the pod. We've gotten some new subscribers over the last couple weeks. Shout out to the new subs. Keep on subscribing. Apple, Spotify. Leave those 5-star reviews. It does go a long way for helping this show continue to grow. Helps more people find OTB and our entire catalog of podcasts here at Underground Sports Philadelphia. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia and Outside the Box podcast YouTube channels. YouTube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That's where you have full video episodes of this show every single week. Full video episodes of every show on our network. Clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. It's all on the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. We're currently at 870 subscribers, which means we're 30 away from 900, which also means we're 130 away from 1,000. Let's get to 900 before the end of November. Let's get to 1,000 before the end of 2024. Let's make that happen. Leave a like on this video, drop a comment in the comment section, and click that bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And guys, this show is proudly presented by Shootout For Soldiers, and it's November, which means it's Wall Ball for Warfighters Month. And this November, Join us in making a difference for our nation's veterans through the power of lacrosse. We're excited to once again talk to you guys about Wall Ball for Warfighters, Shootout for Soldiers campaign, where you can sign up and help support those who have served our country. Throughout the month, we invite lacrosse enthusiasts of all levels to participate by logging your wall ball sessions and contributing to a collective effort that gives back to our heroes. Whether you're a seasoned player or just starting out, your participation will help raise crucial funds and awareness for veteran support programs. Get involved, challenge your friends, and make every rep count. Together, we can show our gratitude and make a lasting impact. Ready to rep for a cause? Let's get started. This week was Veterans Week and Veterans Day. Big thank you to all of our veterans, and big thank you to especially our guy, the big dog. I got to reach out to him and get him on the show maybe next week. Eric Minio, thank you for your service, my good friend. Wall Ball for Warfighters is one of the coolest campaigns out there. It's an easy way to get involved with the community. Visit wallballforwarfighters.com and click the register tab or the donate tab to get involved, and check out Shootout for Soldiers website, shootoutforsoldiers.com, to check out all of the events that they have coming up right around the corner. But it is Wall Ball for Warfighters month, and Deej and I are plotting and scheming our video as we speak here on this podcast. We're very excited for it, to get involved and be a part of such an awesome cause. And thank you again to all of our veterans who have served to protect our nation. We appreciate you. And happy Veterans Day, happy Veterans Week. And Deej, you want to talk about announcements and groundbreaking this week? Just yesterday, the biggest announcement of them all: the Women's Lacrosse League is officially here. The PLL announced the WLL yesterday at the NASDAQ. They were at ESPN. They were on SportsCenter today. What a groundbreaking, awesome, truly transformative thing for the sport of lacrosse. And myself, you, Chase, we've been talking about this since Champ Series in February, when the Unleashed Women's All-Star Game was happening. Chase and I, to this day, say it is one of the best and most entertaining games of lacrosse we have ever watched in person. And the WLL is here. A little background and detail on the WLL. It's going to feature 4 teams off the bat, playing in Olympic sixes format, competing. Everything, the first competition is going to be competing for the inaugural WLL Championship Series trophy in February, alongside the Men's Championship Series. The 4 teams' home cities and players will be announced at a later date, and Paul Rabel, during yesterday's press conference, flat out announced that home cities, player distribution to the 4 teams, the coaches, team names and branding and everything will be announced before the end of 2024, which I think is huge, to just continue the excitement and the energy around this announcement. Charlotte North, Alex Ostholman, Lizzie Colson, and Izzy Skane are the official WLL ambassadors. Shout out to Izzy Skane's mom. Followed me and the pod yesterday on Twitter, and we're officially, not that we were never not Izzy Skane fans, but we're officially Izzy Skane Stan podcast now. Shout out to Mama Skane, which Izzy had one of the funniest quotes, Deej, because you and I can both relate to this. She said that she was probably the last one to find out about all of this. She's known for a couple weeks, but she couldn't tell anyone, especially her parents, because her mom is a talker and her mom is on social media. Who does that sound like?
Man, listen.
Izzy, we feel you.
The crazy part is everybody out there knows CFO Marge, but the crazy part is we talking about my mom too, because all she do is be on the phone. She just on the phone all the time.
I swear.
So if I tell her anything, half of Kalamazoo's gonna know, because she don't just tell it.
Our moms have PhDs in yapaholics.
Bruh.
Yapology.
Yapology senior professors. That's what they are. Yapology senior professors. They've been doing this for a
Yapidemics.
long time. They could teach anybody out there the P's and Q's of yapidemics. Absolutely.
Insane. But shout out to Mama Skane. Hopefully she's listening to this episode. But Izzy, we relate. We know that feeling of not being able to tell people things because they yap. I mean, what perfect for ambassadors. You know, we have had the opportunities to interact with all four of them to some degree over the last year or so. Just it is the coolest thing. The logo for the WLL is so sick. I loved the video of Charlotte North seeing the logo for the first time, and her immediate reaction was, the coolest part is the ball is placed where it would be in a women's pocket and not a men's pocket. It's the attention to detail there. I don't know if it was our guy Liam designing it, but I have a hunch it might have been, and that's just how Liam operates. This is so sick. Like, we have been yearning for this for the women's game. I think you and I just talking about it off pod. And obviously, Athletes Unlimited exists. Paul mentioned during the press conference that all the players that play in Athletes Unlimited will continue to play in Athletes Unlimited alongside the WLL, which I think is amazing. Because you see, our guy Michael Harrison tweeted it too. You see WNBA players are playing in Athletes Unlimited as well. There shouldn't be too much conflict there for the time being. So that's a huge win there. And it's the biggest investment the PLL has made in women's lacrosse since 2020. Obviously the WPLL existed for a blip on the radar. Unleashed rolls around to cover women's lacrosse, and then Athletes Unlimited comes around, and then you have the Unleashed Women's All-Star Game in February, this past February, and this is just the next step. And we were talking about it, like, every single time that we got a chance to talk to any of these ladies at Champ Series, the number one thing that resonated with me was they all continued to say they finally feel like they're being treated like professional athletes. And this is that step forward for all of them to have that feeling and to finally feel. And Izzy talked about it, like, her ultimate goal was to play D1. She always wanted to play D1, always wanted to play at Northwestern. And for the women's game, for the longest time, that's kind of where your career halted. Once your college career was over, all right, that's it. And, Athletes Unlimited rolls around, so you have that opportunity. But this is that time now where there's a path forward in the professional space for women's lacrosse for the first time to really pave the way for the women's game to eventually evolve to where we've seen, the MLL back in the day to now the PLL doing what they're doing and busting that open like nobody's business. And the goal there to be lacrosse being your job, it being professional athlete is your job title. This is the foundation for that for the women's game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for this, for the fact that um they're gonna get an opportunity to continue to play the sport that they love at a higher level, other than every 4 years, I think it is, for women's worlds. But then now, you're gonna have I guess it'd be every 2 if you're gonna be playing box and field as a woman. So now that they have both worlds, that's gonna help a little bit. But this will help them tremendously in terms of playing consistently, having a stick in their hands on a regular. Not that they aren't already doing that, but it's a little bit differently when you're doing it with teammates, when you're moving around, doing drills with more than one person rather than just hitting the wall and going out and taking shots. They're having an opportunity to grow. They're growing their own brands, and then they're growing the WLL brands beyond that, which will subsequently push down to the elementary level, like we're seeing with the PLL. Every kid falls in love with a sport based off the fact that they believe they can be a professional athlete, or they see the professional athletes, right? Like almost every kid has wanted to be a basketball player, football player, a baseball player. Like, that is just what, especially young men, that's what they look at. But there's a lot of women who want to go be professional women's soccer players or want to play in the PWLL or PWHL. And now this will help grow the younger forms of women's lacrosse as well, because they now have something beyond college, like you were talking about with Skane and playing at Northwestern. Is now it's not just, oh, let's go play at Northwestern or UNC or Boston College or Denver or Notre Dame, Michigan, Duke, Syracuse, and then call it a career. Oh, I'll play every 4 years in Worlds for 8 years, 12 years. That's only three world competitions, 2 or 3, and then all right, I'm done. Now they get a chance to possibly make this into a career, and especially when you're looking at, like, I think that's some of the appeal with elementary kids, is that they could potentially be professional lacrosse players that don't have to do anything else. They can just be a professional lacrosse player, and that's all they have to do, and they're going to make enough money to live. That could be the same reality for women's lacrosse players now, depending on how this goes and the matriculation over the next 5 to 10 years. But that's kind of just now something that they're going to have in the back of their minds, which is going to push fandom just like it is with the PLL.
And I mean, I think a photo says 1,000 words, if not more. The picture of Lizzie Colson just like pointing at this young girl at the NASDAQ yesterday was one of the most beautiful photos ever. And it's just showing and demonstrating the path that's being paved by your ambassadors, by the players that are going to be playing the WLL for this next generation, for the generations after that. And I think, you mentioned, like, we always had aspirations of being pro athletes. That's what every young boy does. Charlotte North talked about the same thing in the press conference, like debriefing and the roundtable. She said, I always had aspirations of being a pro athlete. The WNBA always felt like the path that was most attainable for me. And then I tapped out at 5'7", but then I fell in love with lacrosse, and look at Charlotte North now. And I think the quote of the century, like, print the t-shirts. Paul Rabel joked that she's now the CMO of the WLL. Alex Ost-Holman on First Take to Stephen A. Smith. Everyone's a lacrosse fan. You just don't know it yet. Tattoo that on everyone's forehead. Because when I heard her drop those bars, because that's what that was, she was spitting on First Take to Stephen A. Smith about it. And not that Stephen A. Smith was downplaying it. He was just asking why lacrosse isn't more prominent than it is. What a quote from Alex Ost-Holman to just drop on everyone's head on national TV, on the most watched sports show on television. And to hear Paul Rabel's reaction to it was amazing. But I was like, Alex Ost-Holman always comes with the best, just like, verbiage on everything. She's great on the headset. We obviously saw it at the All-Star game this year when she's in Marcus Holman's head, which was just great. That's a bar right there. Like, that's the tagline of lacrosse.
Shout out Alex and Marcus, because they clearly watch us or our streams or something, because I have 1,000% said before, everybody's a lacrosse fan. They just don't know it yet. So shout out Alex for putting the quote out there. And you know what? You can have all the trademarks and everything you want behind it. I don't even care. Like,
just come on the pod.
We don't compare, so I'm not gonna try. Go ahead and run with it. But like, it's literal facts. I have yet to introduce somebody to the game of lacrosse and they tell me they're not interested in it, even in the slightest. They may not jump head over heels into it like a lot of other people did, but they're like, yeah, I'd watch this again.
Look at me.
I enjoy this. And then they ask me about it too. Like, they may not want to sit and watch the game, but they'd be like, oh, like, how's lacrosse going? Or, have you gone to a game recently? Is there a game on tonight? Like, they're at least interested enough to ask, or interested enough to know that I'm interested in enough to ask about it and have some basic knowledge. So, like, I have yet to run into someone who is just like, nah, fuck lacrosse, bro. That shit's whack.
Oh, look at me. I didn't know a damn thing about lacrosse until 2018. Like, I knew it existed, but I wasn't.
And now you be trying to debate me like you actually know what's going on out there.
Whoa. We're gonna take a quick 20. We'll be right back.
I'm talking X's and O's, bro. You be
I never claimed to know X's and O's. I know
you be trying to debate me like
I
know.
know the Jimmys and Joes. That's what makes this podcast amazing. But I'm so pumped. Like, y'all don't know. Y'all don't understand. Like, we're about to be the #1 WLL stan podcast out there. Like, we're going to be covering this full-fledged, just like we do the NLL, just like we do the PLL, just like Deej does with college, and we're planning a whole bunch of stuff for the college season this year too. But WLL is going to be covered in depth on this show. And Deej, I was thinking about it today. I don't know what it would look like, but we've talked about this for years now in terms of the show. And obviously we built out a little mini army of OTB doing content and people, doing stuff with us. I mean, the perfect time right now, I feel like, is now to put the feelers out there to try to get a woman co-host with us for some things. Like, those wheels have been spinning since I heard news of this announcement coming that maybe it's that time. And I know our boy Chris Rosenthal is beyond stoked that Megan Carney's back because she was at the NASDAQ yesterday. So that means she's playing in the WLL. And I'm just saying, Megan Carney had a podcast when she was at Syracuse with one of her teammates. So if she wants to hop on the mic and all that kind of stuff, but
we here.
Preliminary, I'd say we are in the market to onboard a woman creator, co-host type sitch for OTB. So if you or someone you know is out there listening, watching, or you know somebody, send them our way.
We trying to be a throuple.
Pause. There goes all leads.
I mean, let's be honest here, bro. Like, if we gonna get a female co-host, she's gotta match our style. So I mean, she's gotta know that's a total joke, and it's just one of the outrageous things I have to say.
I mean, we're out here we just trying to build the original Avengers team because literally we're missing Black Widow.
I mean, to be honest though, like, if any they would have watched the pod anyway, so they know how I am. So like, it's not a big deal.
We're literally just missing Black Widow in terms of the original Avengers lineup.
Hey,
because we have 4 out of 5.
All we got to do is have somebody look out. I'm trying to think if I know anybody that would be good for this spot.
We are preliminarily in the market for that, especially
we in the market.
I'm just saying the foundation is there. We are looking. We are in the early stages of it.
We're looking to mingle.
So yeah, I'm super excited about this. The logo's sick. I need all the WLL merch possible. And I know.
Should we make a dating profile for it?
You gotta relax.
We can put it on Christian Mingle. We can put it on.
That's the perfect place to do it.
We can put it on Be Okay. We can put it on Tinder. Put it on Hinge.
This fucking guy. We're not doing that unless they give us an ad deal.
We can put it on Facebook Dating too.
Not unless we get an ad deal.
Hey, the foundation is laid.
I just gotta say, WNBA obviously gets referred to as the W. Can we just claim that the WLL, like, can we just call it the dub?
I'm here for that.
As the shorthand reference to the Women's Lacrosse League, calling it the dub. Because it's got a double meaning in my book. Obviously, W for women, but it's a win for the sport of lacrosse. It's a dub. Mm-hmm. We just need the blessing of Stick Talk because I feel like that's also in their wheelhouse of what they're going to be referring to it as.
Brian. Come out wherever you are.
Come out to play.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to end up calling it the dub. I know for sure.
You heard it here first.
Diggs Tape going to call it dub. I already
Oh,
know.
yeah.
You're like, hey, the dub went off this weekend.
Yes. Literally. Like,
Did y'all
that,
see them out there wilding this weekend in the dub? Nah, bro.
we need Diggs to bring them videos back, man. What a time.
Nah, for real.
Um,
I think
but yeah,
man, I think I kind of want to do voiceovers.
go for it.
Y'all think I should do them?
I've been saying the world is your oyster at this company. You could do whatever you want.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But yeah, I'm super excited. Like, I know we've been in the works of getting Lizzie on the show. Our schedules just haven't lined up. She was moving this summer, so like that kind of impeded on that. But we've been working to get Lizzie on the show. It seems like it's a foregone conclusion that it's just a matter of getting our schedules to line up. And we got to get Alex on because Brian loves you. Marcus loves me. Now it's time to make this whole thing. And I loved her response because I asked her during the press conference. I said, obviously Marcus playing for the Boston Cannons, Brian coaching them. You've gotten to see them kind of integrate themselves into a home market, because I think that's also one of the cool things about the WLL off the bat is they're going to have home cities attached to these teams. I was like, how excited are you to kind of have that initial fandom and people in a home market rooting for you? And she obviously explained because she's obviously coaching at Maryland too, and they all played in college, so they have that aspect to it. But now it's at the professional level, and I feel like for a lot of sports, like, you have your college fandom, but it never quite equates to your pro sports fandom. That pro sports fandom is just another level up, and I'm so excited to see where these markets are going to be. I know Paul talked about, the markets that they're not in are super important to them, but it also did sound like they want to kind of be in the markets that they've already been growing as well, to kind of just let that continue to flourish. Early prediction right now for the 4 teams, Deej. Where do you think the markets end up being? I have 2 off the rip that I think almost make too much sense for it to not happen.
Utah, Philly, Maryland, and probably New York.
I would love if Philly was in. I don't know if they'll be in off the rip. My 2 that I think are destined to be in from the beginning, Maryland, obviously, Lizzie, Alex, the whole Maryland connection there makes a ton of sense. You grow them alongside the Whip Snakes.
Probably Boston, though. I was thinking
Boston
about
was the other one because of Charlotte.
about Boston College, not even just because of Charlotte, just BC in general. But like what
Right.
I was thinking about was like where you see a lot of young girls there watching the games. I
Mhm.
figured that might be where they try and go first to make sure that they're actually selling tickets and like there's money coming through the cog. Doesn't necessarily have to be full profit or any profit at all, but there's got to be some money coming through the cog. So that was kind of my thought process. And I was just thinking about like how sold the people of Utah are. So that popped in my head as well.
New York makes a ton of sense, obviously, with Syracuse. And I've also been thinking, just because the WLL debut is going to be at Champ Series, something tells me, much to, I don't know if you intended this, but it might be that they put them in the markets of the men's side of teams that qualified for Champ Series as well, which would be Utah, New York, Boston, Maryland.
I didn't even think about that at all. At all. I just threw out what kind of made sense. From the one time I went to Utah, there were a lot of young girls there.
And obviously New York has a huge, youth footprint and a huge growth in the women's game. And
yeah, that was why I thought about Philly, because Philly
I would
has
love if
huge
Philly got a team. Like, I would love that.
youth footprint.
But we'll see. I'm pumped that, Champ Series, we're going to get a chance to see this unfold up close and personal, and we are going to do our damnness to get as many women's players on the pod in the near future. But I'm super excited about this, and I think the overwhelming response to this was so positive, which was such a nice thing to see. It's a game changer. It's huge. Whirlpool is the founding partner, so I'm assuming they are kind of like on the equivalent of Ticketmaster for the PLL, which is awesome to just see their integration and growth there. Paul mentioned that he and the PLL like board approached ESPN with this concept a year ago, and they were welcoming it with open arms. So I think that pays dividends. And Dan asked in the press conference too, kind of how this helps negotiations for the next media rights deal. And I think from everything we've gathered over the summer and into the fall, like ESPN wants to be the destination for all things lacrosse. And that starts with the PLL and the way that they've just developed their product in a viewership wise since that deal kicked off. And now you add the women's game to it. It's a huge win for everyone, and I'm so excited for the women's lacrosse league. It's going to be so sick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pumped for it because I've been saying for a long time that they're extremely talented and deserve this level. So it's going to be nice to see that they've done it at a time where truly some of the best women's lacrosse players are going to be able to go out there and showcase how good they are. And I'm talking ever. These are some of the best ever. Oh, being able to showcase how good they are and what the sport can bring to the world. And I think it will only elevate where girls lacrosse will go and women's lacrosse in the future.
Yeah. So let us know how excited you are for the WLL, the dub. You heard it here first. Copyright trademark Outside the Box podcast 2024. Let us know where you think the markets are going to be, which players you want to see in a potential home market for you. All of that, let us know in the YouTube comment section or leave us a voicemail. Speakpipe.com/OTBLaxPod. Our voicemail line is open 24/7, 365. You can leave us a voicemail, give us your lacrosse takes, thoughts, questions, all that good stuff. News pops off. You want to get something off your chest, leave us a voice. Speakpipe.com/OTBLaxPod. And our WLL announcement breakdown is brought to you by the PLL app and our PLL app code. I'd be stunned if we're not seeing WLL news in the PLL app moving forward, which means more to do in the PLL app. It is your go-to destination for news, alerts, everything you need to know about every single team in the PLL, articles written by your favorite beat writers. It's a gamified app, so there's trivia in the app every single day. There's tasks that you can do to earn XP, and when you earn XP, you level up, which unlocks new features for you in the app. You get discounts in the PLL shop, the whole 9 yards. Speaking of discount in the PLL shop, did you see the new bomber jackets that they dropped?
No.
Hachi Machi, they are beautiful.
I'm about to spend some money.
They are fuego.
Download some money.
Download the PLL app in the App Store, Google Play Store, or go to pll.app and use our code OTBPOD. That's OTBPOD. You get 500 XP on your account. That's code OTBPOD for 500 XP on your PLL app account. D's a little quick hit here. The Pac-Cav trade dust has kind of settled. But our good friend Phil Shore and our good pal Topher Adams, who is the beat writer for the Denver Outlaws, both wrote really, really good articles that give you kind of an inside look at how this trade evolved and unfolded. We will link both of them in the description of the pod. But Phil's article goes into detail that the trade was requested for by Pat Cavanaugh, which I think is an interesting wrinkle to this whole situation that unfolded last week. I think that's also Pat Cav kind of just looking out for his career, which we talked about last week, saying, this is the best move for his career to kind of flourish and evolve. And the fact that he kind of recognized where the cannons are at this point and where his game is, he said, hey, I got to look out for myself too. And like we mentioned, it was kind of a win-win for both teams. But I do find it interesting that, it wasn't Brian Holman looking to trade Pat Cavanaugh, which a lot of people are like, what is going on? And it was Pat Cav kind of looking out for himself and requested the trade. And obviously Brian Holman was not going to give Pat Cav away for nothing. He had to find the best deal for him, and we both think he did that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is maybe he could have gone some other places, possibly that could have provided some different opportunities, but this is going to be a spot where he can grow along with the rest of the offense, have plenty of opportunities to be a star, yet not have all the pressure on him, and to be in a fun offense. This offense moving forward is going to be extremely fun, no matter what combination of 9 to 10 people they put together on that 19-man roster on the offensive side. It's going to be a fun group to watch, a fun group to play in, and a fun group to be a part of. So he gets to at least have that piece where he's having a fun place to play in there. All the pressure is not on him, and he can freely be himself. But I do think, obviously, as a Redwoods fan, I think that would have been a great place for him to go. I also think there was an opportunity for him with the Whip Snakes, possibly. Maybe not at X, but some other positions. It's just tough with their lineup and what they do. But he definitely could have had some opportunities there as well. But yeah, realistically, this was a good move for him. Whether he stayed or left, he was going to be in a good position because the Cannons were on the way up, and he was going to have opportunities within their offense. But Denver kind of gives him a different look where he can be a little more productive and helpful, and in a case that makes sense to him. I don't think he didn't feel productive or helpful where he was at and with the Cannons and what he was doing, but he would feel more productive and more helpful in a position where he is in with Denver.
100%. So yeah, we'll link those articles in the description for everyone to check out because they're both really well written. Shout out to Phil, shout out to Topher. But Deej, before we keep pushing, want to talk to everybody about our friends over at Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. And Deej, it's nearing that point where we both subscribe to the notion you need sunglasses more in the wintertime than you do in the summertime. Not that you don't need them in the summertime, but giggity goddamn is that sun bright as a motherfucker during the wintertime, and you need sunglasses to protect your eyes. I got my blue light glasses here. I've been wearing them all day when I've been editing a whole bunch of stuff that we've got going up, and I'll be wearing them tonight watching the Eagles game to protect my eyes from those blue light rays coming out of your screens. Go to tomahawkshades.com. Check out all of their merchandise, from sunglasses, blue light glasses, prescription lenses, ski goggles. They've got some small batch apparel dropping again soon. Check it all out, and you can also check it out in the Tomahawk Shades app. And when you go to checkout, use code USP for 25% off your next order from our friends at Tomahawk Shades. That's 25% off with code USP at tomahawkshades.com or in the Tomahawk Shades app. Interesting news from our good pal Adam Levy. Does a great job covering the NLL big time. He also announced that he will be writing for Lax Culture Daily, which is headed by producer Jonathan Donville, and his podcast, The Lacrosse Matrix, will also be featured on their network. So kudos to Adam and congrats there to our good pal. But there's NLL CBA drama, Deej. And I sent this to you yesterday, and we were both like, what the fuck? This is going to get ugly. Yeah, you heard that right. So Adam Levy tweeted, breaking on the Lacrosse Classified podcast this week. Toronto Rock owner Jamie Dawick made some absolute bombshell comments regarding the future CBA discussions with the NLL. Quote, "We'll see what happens, but if everything I'm hearing comes to fruition, enjoy this season. It might be the last one for a while. Players need a real quick understanding of the financial makeup of the NLL and what's really going on in this league, and they should be thanking the owners that there's a league and they have a league to play in and not fighting for other stupid little things, trying to act like full-time professional athletes in the Big Four leagues." Another quote, "I expect World War III." If you listen to the entirety of Dawick's comments on the issue and the state of the NLL, it is from the 39:45 mark to the 42:18 mark in the podcast. He paints a very bleak picture of the future. First things first, we have been this way forever. We will continue to be this way forever. We are a pro player podcast. That's just how we flow. We want to see our guys eat. We want to see every women's player eat. We want to see every college player eat. We are a pro player podcast. Get what you can get from your contracts, from your brand deals, all of that. Flat out, those quotes from Jamie Dawick are disgusting. To minimize the entertainment, the entertainers to the teams that you are an owner of, and saying they shouldn't be trying to act like full-time professional athletes in the Big Four leagues. What are we fucking talking about? These dudes bust their asses damn near year-round for, I'd say, about 85% of them. Also working 9-to-5 jobs to survive, and you're minimizing and delegitimizing them as the product that brings you money. I genuinely could not be more disgusted with comments about a sports league that we care about so much, players that we care about a whole hell of a lot, and it's truly, and it's been this way for so long. It is one step forward, 99 steps back with the NLL. It's crazy. And we're lucky that we get to work with teams like the Wings, like the San Diego Seals, like the Colorado Mammoth, just to name a few, that support us, that understand what we're doing, and they are brilliantly run organizations. And I can say the same just from who's running the show. Similar vein about the Ottawa Black Bears, Rich Lisk and his whole crew. This is just such little man syndrome, such absurd things to say, and I genuinely hope every single player from the Toronto Rock that hits free agency, so long as Jamie Dawick is the owner, if they hit free agency, they don't even look at them. They head somewhere else that benefits them as a player, because Jamie Dawick just shot himself in the kneecap, not even the foot, in the kneecap with those comments. How are you as an owner publicly saying on a podcast those quotes? I saw that, my jaw was unhinged. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that a professional sports team owner would go on the record saying all of that in the midst of a CBA discussion.
It's disgusting. It's just flat out disgusting. It's funny to go from talking about a group of people who say they are happy to feel like professional athletes in the way that they're treated, to now go over to a group of men who are asking for probably just health insurance, and they're being told that they shouldn't act so high and mighty. It's wild, like these dudes are putting in more work than anybody, really. If we want to talk, like these guys are working all week, interacting with family and friends, and running errands and all these things, and then still flying out, having a practice, playing a game, flying back home, and doing it all over again. But they shouldn't feel like a professional athlete. They shouldn't ask for a little bit more of something. What are we talking about here? And how can you say that as the owner of Toronto, who's got Mark Matthews, Nick Rose, Latrell Harris, Tom Schreiber,
Schreiber.
Fallon Rogers, Mitch DeSnoo, TD Erlin, like these are some of the biggest names, and not only just like box lacrosse, but lacrosse in general. And you're saying that they don't deserve to be, feeling like a professional athlete in a major sport. Maybe you don't deserve to own a team if you don't feel like it's a major sport.
Sell the team, pal.
Let's go there. Let's go there.
Like, we view the Toronto Rock as like this model of excellence, and obviously they've had success in the past and everything. But now I look at the way that team is run in a completely different light because of those comments.
Yeah.
Like they scream to me like New England Patriots, St. Louis Cardinals, where they have like this like stoicism about them to the public eye, where it's like, oh, it's the Patriot way, it's the Cardinal way, it's the Rock way. This is like Jamie Dawick should be embarrassed for even thinking about stating this on the record. He's getting absolutely cooked. And the amount of people I have seen, which I never thought I'd see the day, the amount of people I've seen tagging Paul and Mike Rabel to swoop in and asking what it takes to buy the NLL is pure, like, I feel like the popcorn meme guy where he's got the popcorn bucket, kicks his feet up. That's me right now. Dude. Because, well, it's wild.
All I'm going to say is if they decide to do that, lacrosse is going to take leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
Leaps and bounds. Because they're going to do what they need to do for things to be right. And and I'll tell you what, he'd probably be the first homie up out of there.
Bye-bye.
See ya. You know what? Actually, we'll just what's your price? Name it, we'll buy it. We'll own this team for now and then find an owner later because you're not it.
I saw the comments from our constituents, the Phil Shores. I saw Neil talking about it too, and a whole bunch of others. Sounds a whole hell of a lot like a certain somebody that was in a certain documentary that used to be in charge of a certain team that used to call the Chesapeake Bay their home. Sounds a whole hell of a lot like that.
Yep. Very similar, which is scary.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about where that league was headed at the time, where it ended up going, and the ups and downs there. Was that really due to players and their abilities, or was it owners and their lack of belief? And is that why the NLL has still stayed stagnant for, checks notes, 30 years? Like it's grown the last 5 to 8 years. It's taken a little significant jump, but
since OTBs existed.
But before that, it was a stagnant. The same people watched, the same people were interested. There's nothing new coming in. So what is that? That says to me, maybe it's not the players, because you can go watch a NLL game from 2005, watch one from 5 years ago. It's box lacrosse. The players aren't that much better. They're better now, but they're not that much better. It's not astronomical. So it means to tell me that the skill is there. what is keeping butts out of the seat? Is it your lack of belief as an owner and your ability to actually market this team well enough to get butts in seats because you don't care enough to do that? Or is it because these players aren't actually good enough? If you ask
And I
me,
mean,
it's not the latter. So
and I mean, you look at the well-run organizations that we can say from either knowing internally or just on the surface of what we see season in and season out. Let's go down the line. The Buffalo Bandits,
yep.
well-run organization. Colorado Mammoth, a well-run organization. The Philadelphia Wings, a well-run organization. The San Diego Seals, a well-run organization in a non-traditional market at that. Halifax Thunderbirds in a pseudo non-traditional market, being the only major professional sports team in Halifax.
Say that word again.
Professional.
That's what I thought you said.
You look at the growth and development from a year-over-year standpoint and how we viewed the Albany Firewolves in their first year to how we view them now. That's growth and development as an organization. You look at a team like the Ottawa Black Bears. Sure, they had to relocate. Was that necessarily their complete fault? No. That organization is super well run by a lot of really smart people. You look at the Saskatchewan Rush, a model franchise. You look at what the Vancouver Warriors have built over the past couple of years, and now they bring in Kurt to kind of be the man, riding that ship for them to really get things going. You look at the Las Vegas Desert Dogs. They're new, but guess what? They've got a really smart guy pulling the strings in Joe Tsai, doing the damn thing. The Rochester Nighthawks, same ownership group as the Buffalo Bandits. You notice a trend with some of the teams we're not mentioning. I'll even put in the Georgia Swarm because they're not even in Atlanta. They're outside of Atlanta, and they still sell tickets. They still are marketable. They still have one of, if not the best lacrosse player on the planet in Lyle Thompson. Like, they have marketability to them. They run a well-oiled machine down there. You notice a couple of the teams we're not mentioning right now, though. And this is no slight to you, Deej, but it's a little bit of a black eye right now with the Calgary Roughnecks and what's going on with Christian Del Bianco.
It ain't no kind of slight over here. You are absolutely right.
And right now I'm viewing the Toronto Rock, even though they on the surface feel that way, that to me, if I was a player and I saw those comments, there's no fucking way I'd want to go play for Toronto ever.
I wouldn't even want to suit up this year.
Like, that's crazy.
I wouldn't even want to suit up this year.
It's truly embarrassing, and I hope that things find a way to level out, with the Players Association, with the CBA, because
saying I expect World War III is bananas as well.
That's wild phrasing.
That's yeah.
Like, I hope every other owner in this league sees these comments and is like, what the fuck are you doing?
I really hope they light him up.
Cook him.
Please.
Because that's embarrassing.
Make this man come out and publicly apologize when you're done, too.
Just, like, genuinely, if you feel that way, sell the fucking team, pal.
Man.
Like,
please.
if it's that much of a burden to you that these professional athletes want to feel like they are professional athletes, sell the fucking team. If that's so much of a headache for you. Not to mention, you employ, like you mentioned, some of the most talented players in the sport. Not just in box lacrosse. In the sport, you have Captain America on your Canadian team roster. Embarrassing. Sell the team. Are we officially enacting the notion that Jamie Dawick sell the team on this podcast?
Hashtag sell the team.
You heard it here first. Embarrassing.
Ooh, I was about to say sell the Rock, but Sell the team. Hashtag sell the team.
Hashtag sell the team.
Drop it in the YouTube chat if you made it this far.
Yes. Drop that there.
See, I could be a good host.
We're going to quick hit on these because it's a lot. I just want to touch on it because it doesn't really play too much into the overall professional side of things that we're talking about today, but it is a huge announcement. But before we do, guys, Black Friday is so close. It's wild. And guess what? NLL season kicks off on Black Friday. And you want to rep OTB when you're going to your favorite NLL team's games? Shop PHI Apparel Company. Get your official Outside the Box podcast merch. Be like Mitch Jones and get your OTB hoodies, your OTB shirts. And if you're a Philly sports fan, get your Philly sports merch as well, because with their unique designs for all, PHI Apparel Company is going to make sure you stand out in the crowd. Go to phiapparel.co. And when you go to checkout, use code UNDERGROUND. You get 10% off any order at PHI Apparel Company. That's phiapparel.co, code UNDERGROUND, 10% off any order from our friends at PHI Apparel Company. Deej, we got an unboxed announcement today, unveiling 13 North American markets to this grassroots initiative. Everyone complaining about not knowing what unboxed is. Ever since Unboxed got announced, we've kept the Unboxed information linked in the description. This is a youth grassroots development for the NLL to get sticks in hands of elementary and middle school students. It's a huge initiative. It's an awesome initiative. And we have 13 new markets being introduced today, Deej. I will list them off. I don't know if you saw them all. We have the Boston Wickies, the Chicago Shamrocks, the Columbus Red Tails, the Indianapolis Checkers, the Los Angeles Ligers, the Miami Tormentas, the Nashville Drumsticks, the New Jersey Humpbacks, the Portland Undercutters, and the Providence Vampires. That's your U.S. markets. And then we got the Edmonton Juice, the London Mounties, and the Quebec City Harfangs in Canada. First things first, these logos rock.
And so do the names.
The names, awesome. They fit perfectly. I need an Edmonton Juice hat ASAP. That thing is thangin'. I need an Indianapolis Checkers hat ASAP. That thing is fire. And I need that what city? The Providence Vampires, the upside down bat. That thing is sick as hell. And you know I gotta rep New Jersey. I need a Humpbacks hat or shirt or something. These are all so sick. And I already know you love the Harfangs because you're a Harry Potter guy.
Yes, that goes hard. That goes hard. So that was definitely going to come up, but we got so much beef, NLL. We got so much beef. You went to every Midwest state and said, "Nah, the mitten good."
He's like the real life SpongeBob meme where Squidward's looking out the window.
Bruh, that's literally me. And I'm looking at you got me looking at Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio. Do you know how I run around here? We big dog. They be looking at us. Ain't nothing in Indiana and Ohio. Ain't nothing in Indiana and Ohio but fields. They might as well be a Great Plains state. I know they ain't really over there, but man, let me tell you. You ever driven through there? It ain't nothing there. Illinois, cool. I don't mind. But honestly, Illinois, a Great Plains state too. You got Chicago, and the rest of that is nothing. At least we got national parks and sand dunes and waterfalls. We got the lakes. We got Detroit. We got Chicago, Kalamazoo, Saginaw, Flint. Don't drink no water in Flint. Lansing, I think I might. I mean, East Lansing throw in there, Ann Arbor, Traverse City, Mackinac Island. We got Belle Isle Island too. Bruh. We even had the turbos here. Y'all just keep ignoring the turbos. It's making me mad. We better be in the next bunch. We better be in the next bunch, or I'm gonna need my 30.
So, is this the second Montreal team too?
Yes.
Or no, Quebec. I'm sorry. Montreal and Quebec are two said they're just both French as hell.
They're right. They're like right next to each other.
So those markets join. Not to ruffle your feathers anymore, Deej, but there is also the Minnesota Lake Dragons from the initial
Oh, I know.
activation. But they joined the Tampa Bay Snowbirds, the St. Louis Howlers, the Baltimore Ghost Crabs, the Minnesota Lake Dragons, the Charlotte Cobras.
I forgot they went to St. Louis. That's nuts, bro. Oh my God.
The Seattle Shipwrecks, the Castors de Montreal, the newly founded Dallas Oil Cats, RIP Panther City, and the Utah Spikes. So now the NLL has a footprint in 36 markets.
And you know what's really going to make me bad? Is I'm almost positive the next time the PLL expands, they're going to be in fucking Louisville. Like, they're going everywhere but Michigan, like, on purpose at this point. So, am I supposed to move? Am I supposed to move? Or...
Well, I'll say this. It's a good sign for your Detroit Turbos agenda that they didn't bring an unboxed team in.
That's fair. That's fair. Because you know what? We still got a chance for Turbos to come back. Hey, NLL, bring Turbos back.
Top 3 logos from today's unveiling, in your opinion?
Let me pull them up real quick. Because I was looking at them earlier, like, oh yeah, these nice.
They're so
These
sick.
nice. Let me go to my notification.
I think we both agree the Edmonton Juice is number 1. A skeleton T-Rex is so sick.
All right, here they are, all right in front of me. Yeah, Juice is number 1.
Juice is bringing the juice.
I fuck with drumsticks heavy.
Yeah, that one's funny.
I like drumsticks a lot.
I love the Indianapolis Checkers.
That's all right. I don't know. It's not.
I just like the aesthetic of the logo is clean.
It's something that's not doing for me. I like the Harfangs and the Vampires.
The Vampires is awesome. I like the Shamrocks too.
I mean,
that rabbit looked like he got the meanest Conor McGregor accent I ever done seen.
I kind of got a like the Undercutters.
Yeah, that one's cool.
It's pretty much just a very similar roughneck. So
that Shamrocks mascot looked like he has the meanest Irish accent.
He kind of looked like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, if Bugs was like battling off the potato famine in Ireland. He bites into a potato instead of a carrot when he says, "What's up, Doc?"
What's up, Doc?
They're fire, though. Big ups to the Unboxed, and I think that initiative is so sick. And if you're a hater, you're just hating to hate. So fuck you and the click you claim.
They don't know about that.
Let's get into part 2 of our NLL preseason preview. It's brought to you by our awesome pals over at Buff. That's right, Buff. This holiday season is making sure you have the best gift for your loved ones, and that is protecting yourself from the harsh environments of the winter cold. If you're going out on hikes, going out in the snow, going out in the wind, and even in the summertime, protecting you from the sun, the heat, all of that, Buff has you covered. It's the official neckwear of Survivor, which you all know Deej has been watching religiously. We're big Survivor people over here. Buff's got the holiday trail going on as well, which I think is one of the coolest ways to shop for a product. And it's when you go to their website, we have it linked in the description for everybody as well, to genuinely like search for the best way to shop for your people. And I'm checking right here because I want to see when this goes live. Well, I'll give you the heads up. It doesn't go live until next week, but Buff Black Friday sale, Deej, you get up to 40% off starting November 21st. So a week from today.
Talk to me nice.
Up to 40% off. And their Cyber Monday sale is going to be up to 50% off. That's pretty good. Pretty good stuff there. Shop for your people, your friends, your family with Buff. Check out the holiday trail guide. The trail map is available to start your gift giving adventure with Buff. Thank you to Buff for being an awesome partner of the podcast. Deej, it's a USA edition. Cue the American Dad theme song. Good morning, USA. It's time to preview the NLL. We're going to start on the East Coast here for everybody. We're going to see how things go. Obviously, we're recording this on a Thursday, and it's a Thursday night. The Eagles are playing tonight, so I also have to cover the Eagles game for the main pod on social. But we're going to go through and start previewing the USA in the NLL. And Deej, I think there's no better way to start than with the team that was competing for a championship last year. They fell just shy, but it is the Albany Firewolves, the youngest team in the league, one of the most talent-laced teams in the league, from Ethan Walker to Sam Firth to Joe Nardella, #backpack, to Ty Kurtz to Travis Longboat. They are also adding Dyson Williams to this roster this year. Marshall Palace with this team this year. John Piatelli is back. Jackson Nishimura, my guy. This team is so littered with talent, and I'm just going down the list, like Colton Watkinson, Doug Jamieson, obviously the anchor back there in goal for them. Eric Fennell, like I mentioned, Ty Kurtz, Travis Longboat, Marshall Palace, Alex Simmons, who was the rookie of the year last year, Ethan Walker, Jackson Reed, John Wagner, who was a huge trade deadline acquisition for them last year, is back. This team is so talented. They're so young. And the fact that you're adding Dyson Williams to this roster this year only has me more excited to watch the Albany Firewolves all season long, because they are going to be appointment television in my book.
I mean, I'm excited for Albany. They have before I say wrong information. I am literally the king at saying wrong information on this pod.
About a community note your ass.
Bruh. I swear they are. I know they have Ty Kurtz, who I really have become fond of the last couple years. I'm a big Dougie James guy back there in net. They got my all-name guy in Travis Longboat, obviously Joey Nards, who I'm a big fan of, Piatelli, Alex Simmons, who did not get enough run with the Redwoods this summer. Gonna be really excited to see him back out on the floor. And then obviously, like you said, adding Dyson Williams to this. Their offense is explosive. And then, when you have guys like Nishimura on the backside, Johansson's back there as well, and Mike Byrne, there's going to be some excitement because these players are young. This is a young team that is only going to be getting more young and more exciting over the next couple of years. And to have made it where they did last year in the NLL finals, the expectations are going to be high, but the energy in the building will be high as well, especially with them signing that long-term contract, another 6 years, I think it was. that's huge as well. It lets the community know that they're going to be around for a while and that they're going to be able to watch these young guys ball out like they did last year for years to come.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch just Alex Simmons, Ethan Walker get integrated into an offense, Ty Kurtz with Dyson Williams, because we saw it this past summer. Like, the more opportunities Dyson got with the Archers, the more explosive he was whenever the ball was in his stick. And Dyson's going to be the guy. They're going to be running a very talent-laden offense with those four guys in particular. And when you have one of arguably the best, but one of the best face-off guys in the box game and in lacrosse in general, in Joe Nardella, winning you possessions, making sure you're getting the ball in the back of the net. He can score himself. He's a weapon, and you have one of the best goaltenders in the league. Like, this team, top to bottom, is there's very little in terms of deficiency, in terms of holes on this roster, that Albany should be a playoff team again, and they're going to be hoping to be competing for and hoisting that NLL Cup at the end of the year. Like, that's the expectation now. And I know it's a lot of heavy expectations for such a young team, but they saw what they were able to accomplish last year, and I'm sure they are going to go into this season even more hungry to get after it. And you're adding somebody talent-wise like Dyson Williams to the mix. That's a recipe for success, if you ask me. And I think they have one of the better head coaches in the league in Glenn Clark. So I'm excited to watch Albany this year. And again, like, if you're a new fan to the NLL and you want to watch an exciting, explosive young team, this is the team to watch. You should have every Albany game circled on your calendar to watch those games, because they are going to be so fun to watch. And looking at their schedule and who they open up against, just so everyone has an idea of, when to tune in to some Firewolves games this year. Looking at their schedule, they open up face-off weekend. They're at home against Saskatchewan. That's going to be a frisky, fun game. Those two teams going at it. They have December 7th, they're in Toronto. #sell the team. They play your Roughnecks the following week in Albany, and then they play Halifax in their final game of 2024, which, when those two teams played last year, always explosive. That was such fun games to watch. They're going to be a lot of fun this year, and I'm excited to watch them play. Do I get to see them in person this year? Yes, I do. Saturday, March 8th at the Wells Fargo Center. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Dyson versus Brennan. Yeah, Albany's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited to watch that team continue to develop, continue to grow, and be a force, for years to come. Who's your player to watch this year?
I like Jackson Nishimura. I like what he brings to the team in terms of energy and being a transition piece that can play some solid defense and provide a spark goal from here to there. But he really just brings really good energy to the floor for them.
I'm going Ty Kurtz. Ty was awesome for the Firewolves last year, and not that he was overshadowed. That's not really the word, but obviously Alex Simmons was unbelievable. But Ty was just as good in what his role was on the team. And then seeing what Ty was able to do in that Carolina Chaos offense this summer, whenever he was active, he made that team better. He made that offense more creative. I'm looking for Ty Kurtz to take that next step forward this year, another year in this offense with Albany, getting to now play with Dyson Williams as well. I'm excited for Ty Kurtz. He's definitely one of my players to watch this season in the NLL, and especially on this Firewolves roster. Let's bounce over, keep it in upstate New York, Deej. We'll bounce over to a team we are very, very fond of, and that is the Rochester Nighthawks, the Connor Fields Hawks. Fieldsy's the face of the team. They just had made some roster cuts this week. Our guy Dan Lomas was cut. So he's looking for a new team. How funny would it be if Dan either ends up in Vegas or Buffalo to play with either Donnie or Paul? But Rochester last year, they made it to the playoffs. Last day of the season, at that, they were the 8th seed. They have a lot of talent. They have a lot of our guys on this team, from Turner Evans to obviously Connor Fields, our guy. We are working to get Connor on the pod. Rylan Reese, our guy. This team has a lot of talent. They brought in a lot of former Philadelphia Wings this offseason, from Anthony Jochum, who obviously hasn't been on the Wings in a couple of years, but now has championship experience, having played for the Colorado Mammoth and won a championship with Colorado in 2022 and was in the NLL finals last year with Albany. You bring in Ian Lord, you bring in Chad Tutton, and guess who else is on this Rochester Nighthawks team, Deej, that I think a lot of people, it may be flying under the radar for them, and we're going to see where our guys' allegiances lie, because I know he roots for the Buffalo Bandits, but Pacino Stan 88, Jake Pacino, plays for the Rochester Nighthawks.
He made the roster.
He is currently listed on their roster on their official team website, and genuinely, I don't know if there's a more perfect spot for Jake Pacino to learn from, because to have the brain of Rylan Reese to pick at and learn from, as somebody who also, wields the long pole in the field game, what a perfect person to get mentored by and learn from and be able to lean on for Jake Pacino in the box game at the pro level than Rylan Reese. I love that he's playing. He's going to be a fun player on that defense. He's going to be scrappy. This team has a lot of fun players. Like, Rochester's a team that for the past couple years I've been very high on and been a fan of. This year, I think they have a lot of pieces to put it together. I haven't even mentioned, Thomas McConvey, Austin Hazen, Ethan O'Connor, Colin Sharkey. Like, they got some ball players, if you will. And I think for Rochester, it's about the goaltending coming together behind that defense. Riley Hutchcraft, Rylan Hartley, we've seen some magical moments from them both. And Kevin Orleman is also on this roster. But they really need the goaltending to elevate this season and be a key force for them to have success. And, Connor Fields is going to be Connor Fields. Thomas McConvey, we've seen him ball out in the NLL. Turner Evans is going to be Turner Evans. Ryan Lanchberry is going to be a dog. It's about this team just meshing. Now that you have the foundation in place, now it's time to take that next step forward as an organization. And we'll see where things go with Rochester. But I think they're going to be a fun, frisky team. They kind of remind me of an East Coast Saskatchewan almost. And I'm excited for another year. Connor Fields just being Connor Fields and perennial MVP candidate in the NLL, in the PLL. He's Mr. MVP candidate.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this team. I really like, Dan Coates. Obviously, Ryan Smith's on this roster as well. Rylan Reese, McConvey, Fields, the normals. I'm a big fan of Turner Evans and Brad Gillies as well. Curtis Knight brings amazing energy to the team. Looking for Ethan O'Connor to have another pretty solid year. Jack Boyden might fly under some people's radar. He was D3 transfer to Virginia from Tufts, won a couple national championships at Tufts. Kid can play, and he's another one of those kids that has a ton of points at the college level. It's because he knows how to score the ball. There's a reason he was drafted, out of D3. So I'm really excited to see what this team has. But in my opinion, this team goes as far as Connor Fields and the goalies allow them to. Yeah, I don't think you need a lot from Connor because of some of the other pieces that are there, but you need 2 goals and an assist. Like, you need 3 points a night in some way. Don't got to be a hat trick, but it's got to be 3 combined in some way. And then you need some solid goaltending, allowing 10 or less on a regular. And this team could be poised for a very solid run come playoff time. But if they're in some situations where Connor Fields is getting shut out or the goalies are letting up 13, 14, 15 a game, they're going to be in some trouble.
Yeah, they're going to be a very fun team to watch. And I mean, Fields, he's a dog, and I just love watching Connor Fields play lacrosse, and he's so good. And this team's going to be frisky. They're going to be fun. I highly recommend watching them. Who's your player to watch from the Rochester Nighthawks?
Be on the lookout for Turner Evans. He uses his body well and is one of those goals at the perfect time kind of guy. When they need a goal from a guy like Turner, he's there to score it every single time. I think he's going to come into some clutch moments and provide a spark that will give some space to Fieldsy and some other offensive players to propel them on a run. I really like what Evans has.
I'm going to go Thomas McConvey. I think he's a player that is poised to take that next step. Didn't really get a lot of run with the Water Dogs this summer, so he's been fully prepared. And I think Thomas McConvey is one of those players. Not that he's not a good field player, but I think he's a very, very, very good box player. And I think this is a year where you want to see him take his game to a new level and be kind of that 1A dog to Connor Fields to rely on when, if Connor's having an off night, Thomas McConvey's right there and can really step up for you. So I'm looking forward to Thomas McConvey this year from the Nighthawks, and obviously Deej and I are both looking very much forward to Connor Fields because that's just what we do. Shout out to Fieldsy. Deej, let's talk about the defending champions, the Buffalo Bandits.
What about them?
A model of consistency, championship pedigree, 2 in a row, just unbelievable vibes and an unbelievable roster. You look at this roster top to bottom. It's name after name after name after name. Tahoka, Kluch, Ian McKay, Cam Wires, Paul Dawson, Dylan Robinson, Sam LaRue, Adam Bomberry, Nick Weiss, Justin Martin, Josh Burns, Steve Priolo, Connor Farrell, how you doing? Justin Robinson, Kyle Buchanan is back, Dane Smith, Chase Frazier, Thomas Whitty, also now a Bandit. Steve Orleman is backing up Matt Vince now, so even their backups are elite. I mean, this team is loaded. They're the defending champions for a reason for the past 2 seasons now. They are a championship pedigree team. They expect excellence. They expect greatness. And we're watching a dynasty unfold before our very eyes. And they're going for a 3-peat, which would be the first since the Rochester Nighthawks of old to accomplish that feat, I believe, in the NLL, because the Saskatchewan Rush won 3 out of 4 and had their run halted by the Georgia Swarm in 2017. So I believe the original Nighthawks are the last team to 3-peat in the NLL, and I think in just pro lacrosse in general. This team is nasty, man. They got the defending MVP. They've got Matt Vince, who is just the Iron Man in goal. Dane Smith is that dude. And when you have a team this talented, it is championship or bust year in and year out. And that is what it is for the Buffalo Bandits.
I mean, I think this is self-explanatory. There isn't much to say. They're reloading. They added a few new pieces because of drafts and then free agency. They're going to be pretty good again.
Pretty good.
So I expect them to make a pretty solid run. I'm already going to undercut you before you even get there. Player to watch this year is Connor Farrell. It's plain and simple. Them being able to have I don't want to say legit face-off guy, but like a true face-off guy may be a tilting point for them in some point, because there were some games that they lost last year or were close due to the fact that the other team was simply just getting possession so often off the face-offs.
They revitalized Connor Farrell's professional lacrosse career. Like, as soon as Connor Farrell was brought into the fold, it was like a new Connor Farrell emerged, and he's built for the NLL. He's built to play for this team. And as soon as he signed there, you saw the wheels start to spin again for the Bandits last year. It was a little up and down to start the year when they didn't have a true face-off. They had Chase Frazier and Ian McKay taking face-offs to start the year. And that's no slight to them. They were doing their best, but like, they're not face-off guys, and they would both tell you that. He truly revitalized that Bandits team and helped them go on that run. My guy to watch, I love watching him play. I think he's an absolute dog. And I want to just see him continue to grow. I actually have two guys on this team. One is Tahoka. I'm just such a fan of his. He's so fun to watch. He is such an explosive player, and I feel like doesn't get the eyeballs on him as much because of the team he's on, but he is the perfect piece to this Bandits team for what he does well. He gets those dirty goals. He can showcase his flashiness. He is so fun to watch. And my other player is Cam Wires. Cam Wires might be one of, we don't throw underrated around a lot at all on this show, but Cam Wires is severe, especially in the box game, severely underrated for what he does. Saw him win Cam Wires is on a championship run right now, everybody. Like, he's got 2 titles with the Archers, if I'm not mistaken, at least one from this past year. He's got titles with the Bandits. That dude's a winner. And you need that on your team, and to have that on your defense, a 6'5", 220-pound defenseman on the left side for your defense, good night. Cam Wires is an absolute menace, and I don't think we talk about how good he is enough. So those are my 2 guys to watch from this Bandits team. And again, like, will it surprise us if they're going for the 3-peat this spring when it rolls around? Absolutely not.
No.
So shout out to the Bandits. They're fucking menaces, man. They're so good, and they're so fun to watch, and they're a more likable iteration of the Kansas City Chiefs in the NLL.
Yes, much more likable. First off,
let's go to my squad, the team I cover, the team I root for, the team that I have a lot of connections to on a multitude of levels, and that is the Philadelphia Wings. Tej, you want to talk about the most interesting situation for a team to be so littered with talent and to only win 6 games last season, but to have a GM with the foresight to flip a player who was succeeding that inevitably gets you the number 1 overall pick in the draft, that turns into Brendan O'Neill, who we all know is that dude, to add to a roster that features Blaze Reardon, that features Mitch Jones, Joe Resetaritz, Sam LeClaire, Holden Katoni, is unbelievable. It's a masterclass from Paul Day. And then to see the way that they navigated the dispersal draft and the remnants of that to go and get Connor Sellers, Liam Patton, Pat Foley, to go and get guys like Tony Malcolm, Phil Caputo, Nick Damude, who's going to be your goalie for years to come. You retain guys like Scott Dominy. You bring in Tyler Burton from Panther City, Mike McCannell. Nick Rowlett is back for another year as well. You bring in a guy like Dalton Young, who is making flashes this preseason. This team is loaded with talent. They are a hungry organization to get to the point where they know they are capable of, and that's a consistent playoff team. That's a team that wants to be fighting for championships year in and year out. They have the pieces to do it. They have a new head coach in Ian Rubel. Tracy Koluski is back on that bench as well. I am a big fan of the coaching staff this year, and that's not to say I didn't like Paul Day. I'm the biggest Paul Day supporter you'll probably ever meet, and I have a great relationship with Paul. I think this team is in a great spot this year to really, really get over that hump of being average and being a dominant team, and that's not even my fandom talking. That is just straight up looking at this roster and the talent that they brought in this offseason. They really shook things up and they really addressed a lot of issues. They got better in a lot of places, and you added a generational talent in Brendan O'Neill to this roster as well, who's lighting it up this preseason already. I'm excited for what this Wings team can really be as the season begins and unfolds, and watching them play together.
This one for me is all about the belief that they have in each other and themselves. You can't tell anyone else inside of Wells Fargo that they're not one of the best teams in the NLL. You can't come from the outside and say, "Oh, this is what's wrong with you." That's what they 100% believe in themselves and each other, and that's the foundation and base layer of being a good organization and team, is believing in yourself and each other. That is the main focal point of this team, and kind of what they have to offer. And the roster is very spread out in terms of age, but also there's a lot of talent and energy on this squad, different body types. I'm really excited to see them back in action, and in a position where they can control a little more of their destiny. I feel like their schedule is a little more favorable to them than it was last year.
Yeah, and I mean, I was at training camp a couple weeks ago and watched the guys play, and I got to talk to a couple of the guys after, and Blaze said it, and it's true if it's coming from Blaze Reardon. He said it was the most demanding and taxing day of a training camp to open up things in his career with the Wings. It was the most intense. They've been doing fitness tests since they got together, which I think is a huge addition to this team. Ian Rubel's very big on fitness, and I think that's going to pay dividends for this roster. And you look at, the Wings just posted, as we've been recording, their roster that's going into week 3 of training camp as they scrimmage Albany this weekend, I believe. You look at the roster for week 3 of training camp. I'm going to read you the names, and if this doesn't scream a playoff team to you on the surface, I don't know what does. You look at the offense here: Phil Caputo, Holden Catoni, Mitch Jones, Sam LeClaire, Brendan O'Neill, Joe Resiteritz, Blaze Reardon, Dalton Young, Jack Jasinski, Chris Jordan, Holden Patterson. You look at the defense: Mitch Armstrong, Tyler Burton, Isaiah Davis-Allen, Scott Dominy, Kevin Lynch, Anthony Malcolm, Mike McCannell, Alex Pace, Liam Patton, Connor Sellers, Jordan Storos, Ryan Wagner, Nathan Fair, Chris Harlan, Nick Rowlett, Stone Jacobs, and then Nick Damude, Deacon Knott, and Matt Kuhn as your goalies. The talent listed there alone from top to bottom is insane. And it's all about, like you said, this team. And I genuinely do, having gotten to talk to the guys at Media Day, like this team believes in themselves. They believe in the guy next to them in that locker room. And I think the Philadelphia Wings are poised for their best season since returning to Philadelphia in 2018, 2019.
Did you ask me a question?
No, I was just kind of bouncing
Okay.
off of what you said.
I was making sure you didn't, because
For everyone listening, DJ gave blood today, so he's a little drained.
I like heard you, bro, but I did not.
I'm excited for this team. The Wings, every game is going to be on TV this year too, by the way, for everybody local market wise. If it's not on ESPN, it's going to either be on Philly 57 or PHL 17. So you can watch the Wings all season long at home, whether it's a road game or you can't make it to a home game at the Wells Fargo Center. It's going to be on TV, which is awesome. This team, to me, they are a playoff team. They have to be a playoff team. And they're going to be so fucking fun to watch, and I can't wait to get to the Wells Fargo Center on December 14th at 6 p.m. against the Vegas Desert Dogs, and I can't wait for December 1st at 6 p.m. ESPN2 to watch them play the San Diego Seals. It's going to be so much fun this season. Get down to the Wells Fargo Center and watch this team. And my player to watch, because now he is finally on the good guys team, it's Phil Caputo, the Wings killer. I want to see him do it to every other team in the league. Go out and be an opponent killer and demoralize them. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch this year. He is going to be getting those dirty goals that Blaze Reardon gets on the left side. Phil's going to be getting them on the right-hand side, and he's such a fun player to watch, and I'm going to really enjoy fans getting to see him do what he does now that he's in a big market like Philly and doing it on a week in and week out basis for the Wings.
I am really interested for Phil Caputo and him playing himself in the role he brings to every team that he's ever played on. He's been that same person, so I'm interested to see how that incorporates into the Wings style of play and their energy, but I'm expecting him to have a pretty big year.
And obviously we are beyond excited for Brendan O'Neill on this team.
That goes unsaid.
That goes without saying, without question. And also at training camp, I got a chance to talk to our guy, Paul Day, and he's been very impressed, and it shows. He's on the week 3 training camp roster. Dalton Young, man. I said it from the moment I saw he signed with the Wings. I told you, I was like, that's a fun signing there, especially with Brennan in the fold. And I believe Dalton's living in Philly with Brennan. So that's more chemistry there for all you Outlaws fans too. Those two are thick as thieves, and I'm excited to watch Dalton play in the NLL this year. I think it's only going to help his game. You and I we waxed poetic week in and week out about Dalton when he was playing with the Outlaws this summer. And I was talking to Paul too. Like, Dalton was like a 3-sport athlete in high school, played football, basketball, lacrosse. Like, he's just a freak athlete, and I'm pumped to watch him as well. I think he's going to be a fun, like, depth contribution on this offense and really bring an element to this team that they really have never had.
Yeah, I think all the young guys coming onto this team are going to be very exciting. There's kind of no way around it. Stone Jacobs, Nathan Furr, Harlan, Matt Kuhn, O'Neill, Rowlett getting some more run here, Dalton Young. All these guys are going to be exciting pieces that bring new energy, new personalities, and new play styles to the Wings, and they're going to be able to kind of piece them around what they have to bolster it. You could see last year they have a solid foundation, but there's some bolster pieces they need, and I feel like they went and got a lot of that in the last couple drafts and free agency.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun season in Philadelphia, I'll tell you that much. And I'm looking forward to being at the Wells Fargo Center for it all. And I also loved, if you watched our Blaze Reardon interview, he said I'd be one of the first people he hugged if we won a championship. So that's pretty fucking cool, man. That's pretty fucking cool. we are going to split our USA edition of our season previews in half. So next week, we will have our breakdown of the Georgia Swarm, the Vegas Desert Dogs, the Colorado Mammoth, and the San Diego Seals to wrap up our season previews. We'll also dive into our playoff predictions, and we will give you our third annual League Pass teams for 2024-2025 and see how enjoyable and fun our teams are going to be this season. We will each have one that we watch, and then we will also have a pod team that we'll be following along with all season long as our League Pass teams, which is just our recommendation to you, the listener, the viewer, of teams you should be tuned into night in and night out during the NLL season. But that's all we got for you guys on this episode. So make sure you're following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod across the board. Follow DJ at SCS_next great. Follow me at KPIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave a 5-star review. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow. I just got the notification, Spotify for podcasters. It's now Spotify for creators. So you might start seeing some clips or potential videos going up on Spotify as well. We're testing the waters and doing our research there. So definitely, if you're a Spotify user, keep your eyes peeled, keep subscribing, keep following. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That's where you get full video episodes of this show every single week, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. It's all on our YouTube channel. Get us to 900 before the end of the month. Get us to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Leave a like on the video, drop a comment in the comment section, and click that bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live. Leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/OTB LaxPod. And of course, check out Wall Ball for Warfighters this month with Shootout for Soldiers. All the information is linked in the description. Get involved. It's such an awesome initiative to showcase your wall ball skills for an amazing cause to support our nation's veterans. It's wallballforwarfighters.com or shootoutforsoldiers.com and check out everything they have going on in the months to come. But with that being said, this has been episode number 349 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, and of course viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network, now covering the Women's Lacrosse League as well. I'm your boy KB for Deej. Shout out to the WLL. Comment women's players you want to see on the pod, and reach out if you are a women's lacrosse creator and you want to hop on the pod with us, potential third mic. We'll catch you guys next week, episode 350 next week, and we'll be 1 week away from the NLL season. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here. I'm about to go watch the Birds, hopefully get a big dub, but we'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.